This video we will discuss about bleeding disorders. So we will cover in journal the features of bleeding disorders, the causes, ITP, TTP. So what is a bleeding disorder? In this, clinical features in a patient will be like petechiae, purpura, ecchymosis. So if you see less than 1 mm diameter bluish discolorations over here, these are petechiae. Then purpura is slightly larger and ecchymosis are just like a bruise. So these features are more of a bleeding disorder. And if you have features such as hematomas, hemarthrosis, these can also occur in bleeding disorders, but these are mostly seen in coagulation disorders. So if we are talking about ITP is a type of bleeding disorder. Okay, there's a disorder of the platelets. So it leads to mostly petechiae, purpura and ecchymosis. But if we are talking about hemophilias, these are coagulation disorder. Here you will find hematoma, hemarthrosis. Now what are the reasons behind bleeding disorders? So the platelets, they are mainly disorders of platelets. Okay, now platelets production can be decreased or platelet destruction can be increased. These are the reasons behind thrombocytopenia. So the thrombocytopenia can be due to decreased platelet production or increased destruction. Now decreased platelet production can be seen in pancytopenia. So these reasons are of pancytopenia. You have B12 deficiency, folic acid deficiency. Some drugs can depress the bone marrow. There can be bone marrow failure. Some space occupying lesions of the bone like cancer, leukemia. These can also lead to decreased platelet production in aplastic anemia and certain infections. Now, there can be reasons behind increased platelet destruction, out of which a very important one is ITP, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, which we will be discussing in detail. Other infections like dengue is also of importance. Certain drugs like heparin induced thrombocytopenia hit can also be seen, and there are certain reasons which are non-immune related, DIC and TTP. Now these reasons we will discuss. TTP will discuss today, and DIC in the future video we will also discuss. Now let's go to what is immune thrombocytopenic purpura, that is ITP. This is also known as primary thrombocytopenic purpura or immune thrombocytopenic purpura because the pathology, the pathogenesis is autoimmune. Therefore, the name is immune thrombocytopenic purpura. Now, to make a diagnosis of ITP, we need to exclude all the secondary causes. Like you have to exclude dengue, any infections is there or not. Okay, so other reasons for thrombocytopenia, which I have already told you. Okay, we discussed about the various reasons of thrombocytopenia, in which there was B12 deficiency, folic acid deficiency. So these all needs to be ruled out before making a diagnosis of ITP. So what is it? It is an autoimmune disorder which is characterized by thrombocytopenia due to antibody formation. Okay, you have to remember the pathogenesis is autoimmune. Now there are two types of ITP. You have acute ITP. As is in any acute process, the duration is less than 6 months, and chronic ITP, the duration is more than 6 months. Now going to firstly acute ITP. Acute ITP, remember it like that, it is a very self-limiting disorder. Okay, it comes after any viral infection. Patient or a child, mostly a child, has a viral infection, after which what happens, the platelets, they are coated by the antibody and they are destroyed by our body. Okay, and this all resolves in around 6 months, max to max 6 months, and then the patient improves himself. So it's a self-limiting disorder, occurs after viral infection. So multiple viral infections are there, or any upper respiratory tract infection. It is of a sudden onset. It is a severe type of thrombocytopenia. Patient will have thrombocytopenia mostly less than 20,000. Okay, so it's a severe thrombocytopenia, but it corrects itself on its own. Recovery occurs within few weeks to 6 months. It has excellent prognosis. Why this takes place? Because of formation of immune complex containing viral antigens, and these immune complex, they cross react with the platelet, leading to the immunological destruction. So there is immune complex, they contain viral antigen, and antibodies are formed against those viral antigens, and they also cross react with the platelets. Now going to the second form, which is the main form, that is chronic ITP. Okay, if we are talking about ITP, we mostly talk about chronic ITP. Now this occurs mostly in adults, mostly females. As is any other autoimmune disease, it occurs mostly in females 20 to 40 years of age. It has insidious onset and can persist for years. Sometimes it is associated with other autoimmune diseases also, like autoimmune thyroiditis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, SLE. So it can be associated with another autoimmune disease also. So what is the pathogenesis? Now, if you remember, you have, this is the endothelium. Okay, on the endothelium there is a marker, that is von Willebrand factor, which is expressed in case of any injury. Then you have a platelet. This platelet has a marker over here which is known as 1b9, and this 1b9 attaches with the von Willebrand factor. Also there's another platelet. This platelet contains another antigen. This antigen name is GP2B3A. So this will cross react with each other. So two platelets adhere to each other by a glycoprotein 2B3A, and 1b9 is required for a connection with the endothelium. So what happens is, there is antiplatelet antibodies which are formed against these glycoproteins. So you have IgGs against these proteins, and therefore there is thrombocytopenia. So what are the clinical features over here? You have petechial hemorrhages, easy bruising, mucosal bleeding can also be there. Depending upon the type of and process of immune reaction, the patient can have just petechial hemorrhages, patient can have menorrhagia, or the patient can also have intracranial bleeds. Now what are the hematological findings in the body? You will have thrombocytopenia in less than 1 lakh. Okay, so thrombocytopenia will be there. One thing to remember is that the platelets, they behave better, okay, when they are, in this case, though the platelets are around 70,000 80,000, but they behave better and they respond to any injury like they are adequate in amount. So there is increase in platelet function also. Okay, so the thrombocytopenia, though it is less, but the body does not suffer that much. Then in bone marrow, what you'll find is, now because the platelets are getting destroyed, the megakaryocytes which are responsible for formation of your platelets, they increase. There is megakaryocytic hyperplasia, so they increase. Then obviously the patient has bleeding, so some type of anemia can also be there, and then you can have certain autoantibodies which are present in the body. So if you see, this is a bone marrow picture, you can see lots and lots of cells, but you focus on the larger cells. So the megakaryocyte is the largest cell in the bone marrow. So if you see these cells, they are increased. Okay, so there is megakaryocytic hyperplasia along with decrease in platelets in the PBS. Now one more important thing is to differentiate acute versus chronic ITP. So if you see acute ITP is seen in mostly children, whereas chronic ITP is seen in middle-aged person. The sex predilection is equal, however there is female preponderance seen in chronic ITP. Mostly there is a viral infection, no viral infection is there. Platelet count is mostly very low, but here it is around 70,000. Onset of bleeding is sudden, it's insidious, it remains for around 6 months. It's a self-limiting condition, automatically gets corrected around months to years, and usually it requires certain treatment. Prognosis in both the cases is mostly okay. Now the treatment for chronic one is you can give corticosteroids or immunosuppressive drugs to suppress the immunity, and splenectomy if there is no response to autoimmunity, because all the reticuloendothelial system responsible for destruction of platelets is present in spleen only. So that was about the ITP. Now we'll just briefly know about what is TTP, that is thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura. Now this is a much more fulminant disease. Okay, it has a rapidly progressive disease, it's a serious disease. Now what happens is, due to any bacterial infection, okay, a patient is of sepsis, you have bacterial infections, sepsis, this leads to release of procoagulant material and von Willebrand factor. Okay, so because of the release of this material there is thrombosis, and because of thrombosis there is thrombocytopenia. So the patient will have manifestations of bleeding, patient will have features of sepsis, fever, pain, abdomen, renal dysfunction. Okay, so these can also be seen. What is the lab diagnosis in the case of TTP? You will have thrombocytopenia, and second thing is you will have a microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, because if this is a vessel you are having thrombosis, okay, multiple thrombi have been formed. So what will happen when the RBCs they are passing through the vessel, they will get injured, okay, and they will form schistocytes. Schistocytes are fragmented RBCs. So fragmented RBCs will be seen in case of microangiopathic hemolytic anemia, which can be seen in TTP. Now briefly, another cause of thrombocytopenia, dengue. Now dengue, as you know, is spread by flavivirus, okay, is carried by Aedes aegypti, and the patient will have features of fever, bleeding manifestation, joint pains along with thrombocytopenia. Okay, depending upon how serious the hemorrhagic fever is, the patient can also go in shock. Now, before discussing two more conditions of thrombocytopenia, let's just briefly know about the glycoprotein, which we already covered. So this is your endothelium, okay. There is von Willebrand factor which is present on the endothelium. Then you have platelet. Platelet has a glycoprotein known as glycoprotein 1b9. This adheres to the von Willebrand factor. Then you have another platelet in which there is glycoprotein 2b3a, and here also glycoprotein 2b3a is there. They adhere to each other. So if this adherence doesn't take place, there will be bleeding present. So there are two congenital anomalies in which certain glycoproteins are missing. So you have Bernard-Soulier syndrome, okay. So Bernard-Soulier syndrome, there is deficiency of glycoprotein 1b9. There is poor interaction between the platelets and the von Willebrand factor, leads to defective adhesion of the platelets. Then you have second is the Glanzmann thrombocythemia, in which there is deficiency of 2b3a, and again in this there is defective platelet aggregation. So these are the two congenital conditions. So this was all about the bleeding disorders. I will cover the coagulation disorder in my next video. Do like, share and subscribe to this channel if you like these videos. We will continue with the academics, and thank you so much.